Right now on the National Weather Desk, California deluge. Record rainfall in Southern California triggers flash flooding, mudslides, evacuations, water rescues, and power outages. The National Weather Right now on the National Weather Desk, California deluge. Record rainfall in Southern California triggers flash flooding, mudslides, evacuations, water rescues, and power outages. The National Weather Service calling it an extremely dangerous situation.
This is an all-hands-on-deck effort.
We have coverage from across California on the threat today and what's still to come.
And we're talking about some major totals.
We also have dramatic video of a tornado touching down in Georgia. As we celebrate Black History Month, we'll speak with atmospheric scientist Warren Washington about his contributions to meteorology.
I was always a kid who wanted to know how things worked.
And we are less than a week from the Super Bowl. We'll look back at the role weather has played in some of the big games.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
Good morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm meteorologist Matt Ritter. The atmospheric river that's bringing record rainfall to Southern California will drop even more rain today. More than 4 inches of rain fell on Los Angeles yesterday, breaking a century-old record for the day. Up to 14 more inches of rain could fall in parts of Southern California today. That would match Los Angeles's annual rainfall in just one day. So far, there is one confirmed fatality after a tree fell on a man's home. Across California, more than 500,000 homes and businesses are without power. All canyon roads leading to and from Malibu are experiencing rock and mudslides. And the threat for what the National Weather Service calls life-threatening landslides continues today in the Hollywood Hills and Santa Monica Mountains. Reporter Mike Valerio begins our coverage.
And the main threat that Californians are waking up to here at this very early hour, the threat of landslides, mudslides, and debris flows across some of the most famous areas throughout Southern California. We're talking about Universal City, Hollywood, Beverly Hills, Santa Monica, all the way out to Malibu. And this is just the opening act.
We are evacuating people in the northern part of the city and the hillside communities that had experienced fires, and so we're worried about slides post-fire.
More than 14 million people are under a rare risk of excessive rainfall across Southern California as the system slams into the state with heavy rain and strong winds, causing landslides, flash flooding, falling trees, power outages, and high waves. Rising river levels will also contribute to flash flooding and pose a risk of drowning.
Stay out of fast-moving water. Don't go to the LA River. Don't go to the San Gabriel River and look at the water. Those are extremely dangerous areas.
Governor Gavin Newsom declared a state of emergency for 8 counties, from San Luis Obispo County, north of Los Angeles, down the coast to San Diego County. The state of emergency allows for a National Guard response if needed.
This is an example of how quickly rivers and streams are rising. This is Mission Creek in Santa Barbara, which overflowed its banks on Sunday. Police went door to door last night asking people who live near it to evacuate their homes. In San Jose, firefighters rescued 6 people and their dogs after they were trapped by rising water. In other parts of the region, rescuers pulled people out of a car stranded in the water. They also had to battle winds that gusted to 80 miles per hour. And those winds brought down this massive tree on a home in San Jose. Firefighters say the 2 people inside were not hurt. Trees came down across the region, damaging more homes and taking down power lines. Back in Southern California, the Los Angeles River is running very high and will likely stay that way for at least another day or two. Sofia Lasios has more on what people are dealing with across Southern California.
This atmospheric river has been everything but calm.
This backyard here is just getting wrecked.
Winds have been making quite a ruckus. Drivers in Bakersfield could barely see in front of them, as this dust storm caused hazardous conditions with only 5 feet of visibility. California Highway Patrol says the 5 freeway, the 99, and the 58 were all affected. There were several crashes.
Slow down to a safe speed and look for a way out, maybe get off the freeway.
The National Weather Service reports south of Bakersfield had wind gusts of 60 to 70 miles per hour. Madera was also having problems with strong winds.
We're experiencing a lot of trees down due to the high winds. We're experiencing power lines, so if you're out on the roadways, you need to be mindful, cognizant of that those power lines and those trees could go down at any minute.
Merced County Sheriff Vern Warkey even pushed out this message, reminding people to be cautious in floods.
If you see flooded streets, stay out of them. The potholes are growing and sometimes cars disappear into them. You don't want that to happen, or they start floating away, and that happened last year.
Creeks, usually dry, are now flowing strong. The City of Merced Fire Department helped rescue this dog who was stuck in Bear Creek near Creekside Drive. Fire crews got to the dog just in time. They said the dog was cold, worn out, and tired. While snow piled high at China Peak with close to 2 feet in the last 24 hours, CHP had to remind drivers to slow down. This car crashed off of Highway 168 near Shaver Lake for driving too fast for the conditions. Fortunately, no injuries were reported, but the Central Valley wasn't the only area hit hard with the atmospheric river.
Mission Creek was overflowing its banks and the water was just moving through neighborhood streets.
The Central Coast also has been filling the storm. Ian Nicholson posted these videos on social media showing just how hard Mission Creek in Santa Barbara was flowing.
Indeed, while most of California is seeing rain from this atmospheric river, the Sierra Nevada mountains are getting snow, and lots of it. Anywhere from 2 to up to 6 feet could fall in the mountains today. That's good news for California because the snowpack this year is running below normal. Reno, Nevada also saw its biggest snowfall of the year out of this system. Folks there are taking it in stride.
Look at this. I mean, it is basically a marshmallow world.
I like it. Bring more of it.
You're the only one shoveling.
Well, you got to get it before it gets too hard, right?
I mean, no doubt that whoever creates these things heard about the alleged early spring and said, no, I'll get in my last snowstorms before then.
I love it. I think it's great. We need the water.
It could be worse. It could happen during the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I've been living here for quite a bit, so I know we expect this kind of weather.
And as we've said, the threat is not over. Rain will continue to fall today across California. Meteorologist Brian Vandegraff is tracking the storm for us this morning.
Well, California getting lashed once again with some big-time rains and winds. They had hurricane-force winds in Northern California yesterday. Now it's that atmospheric river that's going to continue to pump in more moisture. And you can see the brunt of this. Southern California, Los Angeles, down to the San Diego region, where the rain will continue to come through about Wednesday. And we're talking about some major totals. Some spots 4 to 5 inches, but some could go as high as 6+. San Bernardino pushing 6 by the time we get to Wednesday, almost 6 in Temecula, 5 down in San Diego. Unprecedented here. We're under high risk for excessive rain from LA over to Palm Springs for today. This threat carries through about Tuesday before things finally calm down in the middle of the week.
And now to the other side of the country. Rounds of rain and severe storms rolled through South Georgia Sunday afternoon, causing a slew of tornado warnings. This is a suspected tornado that tore through the town of Valdosta, about 20 miles from the line with Florida. The twister destroyed buildings in the area, but there were no reports of injuries or deaths. Authorities said the National Weather Service will be out today to determine the strength of the twister. And one of the major risks that come with all these storms that we've been talking about today is lightning. Meteorologist Jennifer Collins explains how lightning forms and ways you can avoid its dangers.
When warm air rises from the Earth's surface and create these tall thunderstorm clouds. Now, warm water droplets in the clouds meet with cold ice crystals in the atmosphere and they bump together. Now, this contact makes static electrical charges in the clouds, and these clouds have positive and negative charges that are both attracted to each other. Now, when the attraction becomes strong enough, the energy from the negative charges will draw from the positive charges on the ground. Once the two come in contact, energy will flow through the air, and that creates a lightning bolt. In 2023, 13 people died from lightning strikes in the United States. Now, this was below the 10-year average of 22. The safest place to be during a storm is inside a safe building. If you're ever stuck outside, don't be the tallest object in the area, and stay away from tall, isolated objects like trees or poles. You should also stay away from water and metal objects. And remember this rule: when thunder roars, go indoors. If you hear thunder, you are close enough to get struck by lightning, and it doesn't have to be raining for lightning to occur. It can strike up to 10 miles outside of a thunderstorm.
Now, daylight saving time doesn't start for another 5 weeks, but that doesn't mean that you won't be gaining daylight between now and then. Depending on where you live, you could see up to 80 additional minutes of daylight from February 1st till the end of the month. This map gives you a rough idea of how much daylight you will gain, from 30 to 80 extra minutes in just 1 month. And coming up on the National Weather Desk, we'll head to Michigan to see how this year's ice fishing season is being impacted by the warmer winter temperatures. And the big game is this weekend. We'll look at the role weather has played in past Super Bowls.
I'm meteorologist Ryan Munn with a look at the Northeast as we head through the daytime on Monday. We are going to see a good amount of sunshine for most areas in the Northeast. I want to point out Maine, however. We have an area of low pressure off to our east. Notice more in the way of clouds and maybe even a couple snow showers you head off towards eastern parts of the state. Throughout the evening, the nighttime, we are looking good. Then by the time we get to Tuesday, temperatures topping out in the 30s. Here's a look at your high temperatures today. We're talking 30s for most.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Gerard Bailey. Here's a look at the mid-Atlantic region. High pressure still firmly in control, means we are going to be dry. We're going to see sunshine over the next several days until that breaks down later into the week. Until then, it's going to continue to be exactly as it's been, with temperatures very seasonable and very little in terms of cloud cover. Highs tomorrow may only reach the mid-40s. Again, seasonably cool, low 50s down to the south into our Virginia areas. But across the north and east, it may get a little bit cooler as we get into Tuesday.
I'm meteorologist Vitas Reed. Here's a look at your southeast forecast highs for the day. It looks like we're going to see those temperatures right around 62 degrees in Nashville. Tupelo about 63, 59 Birmingham, slightly cooler there. Raleigh 58 degrees, Jacksonville 65, Tampa about 65 degrees. Looking at these rain showers pushing across Florida, looks like that's going to continue to drop some showers over South Carolina, parts of Florida, scattered showers, but these low pressures will rotate out. Little rough surf across the Carolinas, but high pressure builds in with drier conditions for the middle of the week.
This month, we are highlighting the contributions African Americans have made to the study of weather and meteorology. Today, we meet Warren Washington, an internationally recognized atmospheric scientist and former chair of the National Science Board. Meteorologist Veronica Johnson spoke with Washington about his distinguished career and how he ended up being a weather expert.
I was always a kid who wanted to know how things worked. And when I was in high school, I took lots of courses in physics and chemistry and so forth and so on. And I decided that I wanted to be a scientist. And when I got to the library and started using it to learn about what different scientists did, I came up with the idea that these came from families very similar to mine, where they came from ordinary homes and so forth and so on. And so I had the feeling in my mind, why can't I be a scientist?
When you were coming up, who was it that you looked up to as a mentor, as someone where you could see yourself doing that? Did you have anybody?
Chemistry teacher, she was very good. And I asked her on one day, why are egg yolks yellow? Mm-hmm. And she says, why don't you find out? And that started me on the search of because I got something called the Handbook of Chemistry. And I couldn't read all of it because I didn't understand all that stuff. But I did learn that there were sulfur compounds in egg yolks, and they came from chickens eating seeds.
Of all the awards that you have gotten over your lifetime, is there any that made you say, oh my gosh, wow, I really have made it now?
I guess it was the National Medal of Science. It was a wonderful ceremony at the White House. And I was given the award along with 9 other scientists. And just to give you some idea, one of the scientists was the inventor of the digital camera.
Well, to go more in depth on the contributions of African Americans in meteorology, head over to our YouTube page. We have a playlist featuring interviews with groundbreaking scientists and meteorologists. Well, this is Super Bowl week. Come Sunday, the Kansas City Chiefs and the San Francisco 49ers will meet in Las Vegas for the big game. Right now, the forecast for Sunday is pretty good with sunny skies and highs in the 50s. Weather has sometimes been a factor in the big game, though, and meteorologist Emily Gracie blitzes through time to unravel Super Bowl weather history.
Football, that American pastime played in just about every type of weather. This year, thousands of fans will sit comfortably in the climate-controlled Allegiant Stadium for Super Bowl 58. But that hasn't always been the case in the past. The coldest Super Bowl that was played outside was back in 1972 when Miami lost to Dallas at Tulane Stadium in New Orleans. The high that day was a chilly 43 degrees and only 39 degrees at kickoff. On the contrast, fans were sweating it out in San Diego in 2003. Highs were in the 80s that day and still sitting at 81 degrees at kickoff. Things got a little dangerous in 2011 in Arlington, Texas. Snow fell the previous week, and during the game on February 4th, some of that snow fell from the roof of Cowboy Stadium, injuring 6 football fans. February 4th, 2007 in Miami wasn't the most pleasant either. Winds were gusting at 20 miles per hour that day, and an inch of rain fell, making it the wettest Super Bowl ever. Perhaps Mother Nature felt that Prince needed that drenched look during his halftime performance of Purple Rain. If you're not Usher, the average high in Vegas on February 11th is 62 degrees, and that covered stadium will keep fans, players, and performers dry and comfortable. For the National Weather Desk, I'm meteorologist Emily Gracie.
And now let's check to see the weather in Super Bowl cities as we start in Las Vegas, where Super Bowl week is getting off to a wet start. It'll rain today and tomorrow, and the rain could extend into Wednesday. That's all related to that atmospheric river we've been talking about. Today's high should be around 55 degrees. And the 49ers should be very comfortable with that wet weather because that's exactly what they left behind. The city by the bay will be wet today and windy with a high near 57. And the forecast is better in Kansas City, where it should be dry most of the week. Today, Chiefs Kingdom is looking at a mix of sun and clouds with a high of 53 degrees. And finally, let's check in on the home of next year's Super Bowl 59, New Orleans, Louisiana. It'll be windy in the Crescent City today with a slight chance of rain, and the high will be in the mid-50s. Well, the warm temperatures in Michigan, not great for wintertime events. The uncertain ice conditions make the upcoming sturgeon spearing season and other events scheduled on the lake ice difficult, if not impossible. Emily Matasik explains how the warm-up is causing a major cool down for some businesses.
At the beginning of February, Lake Winnebago is usually littered with anglers, but a view from Sky Fox shows nothing but empty space and open water. The lack of ice leading Battle on Bago to cancel the ice fishing portion of its annual event that raises money for youth and conservation efforts.
It's going to be a different event.
While no one will be fishing, other parts of Battle on Bago, including the fish fry and raffle, are still taking place. But after raising more than $2 million in its first 16 years, organizers anticipate fundraising won't be as successful this year. Battle on Bago is part of a 2-week boost in the region that includes sturgeon spearing too. The areas in and around the Lake Winnebago system seeing a roughly $4 million economic boost. The Countryside Bar and Grill outside of Chilton says it reaches capacity during opening weekend of sturgeon spearing.
It's wall-to-wall people, fish around the bar. Everybody's having a good time.
Employees aren't sure what kind of crowds they'll see if no one can go spearing because of the lack of ice.
I don't think it will be as busy as other years. I think it's just going to be a, sorry to say it, but a normal Saturday.
Firefighters in Rhode Island were in frigid waters over the weekend, practicing so they're prepared to respond to a real-life ice emergency. Katie Benoit has the details.
There you go, perfect.
Firefighters from northern Rhode Island are in frigid water, practicing ice rescues so they're prepared to respond to a real-life emergency.
This is, quite honestly, this is the time where something could happen, where an animal or a child goes out on the ice.
It's the first time in a few years aquatic rescue training has offered this particular certification in the area.
Kyle, go off to the right.
Today, the ice is brittle and only a few inches thick.
These guys are using ice that would be the same ice in a condition that they would be using in an actual rescue. And it's
probably the most realistic training.
This group of first responders is using the opportunity to learn a number of different ways to help a person or even an animal stuck in the water, since not all situations are the same. And it's a team effort to make it back to shore.
Good hands-on, great training with everyone.
Even though crews are ready for the worst case scenario, they have a message for anyone thinking about ice fishing or skating. Don't do it.
We just haven't had the weather for it.
Time now for a short break, but first let's take in sunset over Utah's Great Salt Lake.
Good Monday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Andrew Buck-Michael. Taking a look at your weather across the Midwest here. Pretty quiet for the day today. We've got a mix of sun and clouds. Temperatures in the 40s and 50s for most of us for our high temperatures. Pretty dry for Tuesday as well. Pretty comfortable temperatures still continuing to linger through your Tuesday. Enjoy it because it does look like we are going to be getting colder for later this month. A quick look here at your Wednesday. Got a little bit of light rain, snow kicking in from the west, but still a pretty dry day for most of the Midwest Wednesday.
Good Monday morning. I'm meteorologist Joe DiCarlo. Look at our forecast across the region, and it still will be breezy, but not as breezy as what we saw on your Sunday, expected on your Monday. We'll start partly sunny across a good portion of the region, then turn mostly sunny into the afternoon. Mild temperatures, 50s and 60s for the most part for afternoon highs. We head into your Tuesday, mostly clear skies, and then more sunshine throughout the day on Tuesday. And again, seeing those mild temperatures, 50s and 60s, even pushing 70 down across far South Texas.
Good morning. I'm meteorologist Rebecca Stevenson. Here's what's happening across the West. Temperatures starting to cool and right about normal now for the Pacific Northwest, whereas for California into Nevada, we have an atmospheric river. It's tracking in and bringing in the excessive rainfall, flooding, flash flooding, very possible as we get through the day. Also heavy mountain snow in the way of feet and powerful strong wind. In addition to causing high surf, we're going to see some coastal erosion from this. That's the scene from here.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
Texas, another part of the country with severe weather these past few days. Video of a tornado that touched down in a county outside of Abilene Friday afternoon. The storm also packed hail the size of marbles. But it was a more serene scene along the Great Salt Lake in Utah, a peaceful sunset as Saturday tapered off into the night.
For more content like this, like the National Weather Desk on Facebook.
Well, the California storm we talked about earlier is more destructive than past storms for some very specific reasons. The Ron Zahn explained why on X, the platform formerly known as Twitter.
One, I'm sure you've heard about all the rain, inches and inches of rain in a short amount of time, raining basically for 48 straight hours. But that area of low pressure you see right there, that is currently fueling some very strong hurricane force winds. The coast of California has already recorded gusts up to 85 miles an hour. Put that rain together with the wind, and we expect quite a bit of destruction over the next 48 hours.
If you're looking for more great weather content, be sure to check us out on social media. You can find us on all your favorite platforms, including Facebook, YouTube, X, Instagram, and TikTok. Just search the National Weather Desk. We'll be right back. And thank you for joining us on this National Weather Person's Day. Tomorrow on the National Weather Desk, we'll head to Texas, where once dry riverbeds are flowing again after several weeks of intense rainfall. I'm meteorologist Matt Ritter. Make it a great Monday, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow.